Hey y'all, it's Morgan Young, and this is Long Story Shorts, where we get into the stories that are taking over your social media feeds, and you don't even have to swipe. In today's episode, we are talking about a local police chief getting hit with pepper balls, a Dallas cold case that actually started as a love triangle, and a rodeo record that you just have to see. But first, we're digging into an issue that school districts and parents are trying to navigate.
Political activism among students is nothing new. However, some consequences that Texas state leaders are imposing are. This comes at the direction of Governor Greg Abbott. He asked the Texas Education Agency, also known as the TEA, to conduct an investigation into what he called protests happening deliberately during learning time in school. In response, the TEA issued new guidelines surrounding student protests. Among them, students who participate in protests must be marked absent. In turn, this would affect the school's daily funding. Schools receive funding based on attendance rates. Teachers also risk disciplinary action, such as having their teaching license revoked. And schools, same thing. They may face some penalties, even disciplinary action as severe as having their school board replaced by a board of managers. All of this comes as we have seen protests across the state, including in North Texas, students planning walkouts to protest ICE. Certainly, this has ignited a debate about academic freedom and freedom of speech. These student walkouts have been happening for weeks, and we've received word that they are going to continue this week. If you have any questions about the new TEA guidelines regarding student protests, leave them in the comments below.
I did tell her, there could be consequences, like what if, she gets detention or what if. So we did have that conversation before. I didn't know it was going to be as big of a deal as it turned out to be. So I wasn't expecting the backlash, with them trying to say they can't walk on the stage and getting that email right. So I didn't know it was going to be that big of a deal, but I told her, I was like, you just have to make sure it's worth it. And she told me it was to her. So she was willing to face the consequences for walking out. I have an older son. My kids are about 5 years apart, and they did do a walkout when he was in high school as well. Now, obviously, his was not, I think when they did their walkout wasn't so politically charged, I guess. So it was not on the scale of what it is now. I don't even remember it being on the news, and I don't remember it being such a big deal. I don't remember getting letters saying that they weren't going to be able to do, walk across stage, stuff like that. So I do find it kind of odd like that, because this is so politically charged, I guess, or people don't align. Now we're going to make a big deal about it.
We have a couple rounds of rain this week, and one could impact your Valentine's Day plans. Today is Monday, February 9th. Here's what you got to know in this week's weather. Our temperatures for Monday are soaring into the low 80s. This is 20 degrees warmer than normal. In fact, today, we're closer to a record high temperature than we are the normal high for this time of the year. A high of 81 for your Monday. Most of the day Tuesday will be cloudy with a high near 77. Tuesday night brings the first round of rain. This one will be very light scattered rain in the area, about 30% coverage. That means 70% of the area does not see rain. Light accumulations there. By Wednesday morning, we should dry out. It'll be sunny by Wednesday afternoon, a high near 70. 80 and sunny on Thursday. Most of Friday will be cloudy, a high temperature near 75 degrees. Friday night, our second round of rain moves in, and this one brings about 40 to 50% coverage of rain. It lasts through Saturday morning. On Valentine's Day, we're looking at rain for the morning. It does look like it starts to thin out around midday with drier conditions for the afternoon, a high temperature near 65, dry, sunny, a high near 66 on Sunday.
Fort Worth ISD's school board learned Friday that its appeal of the state takeover has been denied. That paves the way for the Texas Education Agency to soon appoint a board of managers, and they will be the ones to make decisions about the district's path forward. The locally elected school board will not, and one of those elected board members has now resigned. The school board president says District 4 trustee Wallace Bridges notified the board of his resignation effective immediately. The president of the board said Bridges had been a, quote, thoughtful advocate, a steadfast supporter, and she praised him for his dedication and commitment. The TEA's board of managers could be appointed by this spring. So it will be interesting to see whether other members of the elected school board follow Bridges' lead. It's one more thing to keep an eye on with this state takeover in the coming weeks.
This is surveillance video that's part of the police investigation. Watch the upper right corner. Most of the traffic has slowed on Frankfort at the Coit intersection, but a black sedan speeds east past everyone else. The result, a collision with a white sedan in the intersection and the black car up on the sidewalk far down Frankfurt on the other side of Coit Road. These are the tire tracks where the car careened up onto the sidewalk where the two pedestrians were walking, until the car finally came to a stop here, a good 50 yards from the intersection.
There was a car that was obviously speeding way faster than it should have been.
Blake Bowman works at the car wash at this corner and shot this video.
Rest in peace.
Of the aftermath.
I saw at the corner of my eye what looked like somebody just go flying. It was not a pretty sight. And unfortunately, those two people lost their lives. And it was just a series of unfortunate events. Wrong place, wrong time.
That's all you see almost every other day.
Sam Benavidez works at a clothing drop-off site at this intersection and says he's seen nearly a dozen accidents here in the past year. People running red lights, cutting each other off.
It gets scary out here driving this thing. You got to be aware.
The impact was so severe that investigators were recovering cell phones and other belongings from the pedestrians in the bushes far off the road. No word yet on the identities of those two pedestrians, and two people from the vehicles were hospitalized.
It's not a pretty picture to put in your head, but all you can do is just pray for the family and hope that everything's going to be all right.
Police haven't determined yet if criminal charges will be filed.
Texas Democrats want to replicate your win in districts all across the state. Can they do that? Is this win transferable at all?
I can only speak to my district and what I did. I would say that, do they want to do the work? Because if they do, of course there's a chance. They have the same opportunity I did. People told me all the time it couldn't be done, you can't do it. And I said, well, my issues are the issues that I'm championing are focused on everyone. And if I can build that trust, and it's by doing the work, I knew I could do this. And they can too if they're willing to do the work.
What I found when I dug into the numbers to figure out who was voting and how that matched up with how the vote broke down was that while turnout was a significant factor, and it's very important, Republicans didn't lose this seat because of low turnout from Republicans. Democrats didn't win this seat because of high turnout from Democrats. Democrats mostly won this seat because a large number of independent voters, almost all the independent voters, and some of the Republican voters who voted for the Democrat Taylor Vermette. And that is the big warning sign we see here, is that we see even some of the Republican base and a lot of the independent voters choosing the Democrat in this race.
Mesquite police just released body cam footage showing an officer hitting a man who tried to get away. Willie Rose died that night, and his family believes the officer killed him. Our Cole Sullivan was the first to bring you this story last night at 10. He is in our newsroom to walk us through this new video.
Chris, we want to start with a warning. This video is hard to watch. It happened a little over a month ago when Mesquite police responded to a shoplifting call at a Family Dollar. They found a car that matched the description minutes later, followed it into Dallas and pulled it over. That's Willie Rose, who they ordered to get out of the driver's seat. Police say he initially complied with commands, as did other people in the car. The Rose family says he asked for officers for his inhaler, then he took off. The officer chased him, tackled him, and hit him. We want to show you that encounter in its entirety.
Hold him. He's like, get up. Get.
I don't know. Hey.
You better stop. I tell you. What the did I tell you? Get on the ground. I'm on. Get on the ground. Get on the ground. Give me your hands. Give me your hands. Horrible. Get. Get. Me your hands now. I'm gonna hit you again if you don't stop. Give me your hands. Stop. Stop.
Police say officers immediately rendered first aid once they saw Rose was unresponsive. He was pronounced dead at the hospital. His family says they believe the police officer caused his death. The autopsy and toxicology reports are still pending.
Hey y'all, it's Kay again, covering another Dallas Pulse volleyball game. But first, let's get into this Women's and Girls in Sports panel hosted by the Dallas Pulse. And it featured legends in the room. I'm talking Nancy Lieberman, Dallas Sports Commissioner Monica Paul, Wise President-elect Angela Lewis. We talked about growth, community, and showing up for each other no matter the sport. And check out this crowd, packed, powerful, and proof that women's sports is here to stay. Now on the court, the Pulse took an L against the Omaha Supernovas, but my girl Mimi Collier, all I have to say is she has a serious arm. Check that out. And you guys know, one of my favorite things is seeing how the bench reacts to each point that the Pulse has, and they never disappoint. Now, this next volley I had to include on this video because it's insane. It lasted nearly over a minute. And yes, that's setter Natalia hitting the floor. And check this out. She's going to get caught up and then boop, sets it right from her knees to a kill. You think, but then the volley continues and it keeps going, like I said, for a minute straight. And you got to check out this right-sided kill from Kelsey Payne. Boom, down the line. And I mean, if you're not at a Dallas Pulse game, what are you doing? Come support our girls.
Senior crime and justice reporter Rebecca Lopez has a series called Crime Reporter's Notebook, where she looks back on crimes she's covered and updates us on where those cases stand now. Well, this week's case is a doozy. It's a cold case that actually started as a love triangle.
This case really was like a soap opera. At the center of it all was the pastor of First United Methodist Church in Dallas, Walker Rayleigh.
How is it possible for all sorts of bad things to happen and good things to disappear, and yet we don't lose our hope?
It also involved his wife Peggy, who played the organ at the church, and a secret girlfriend who was hidden from the congregation. But everything changed the night that Peggy Rayleigh was found barely alive in their Lake Highlands garage. I went through the WFA archives through hours of old tapes and trial videos of the case of the Reverend Walker Rayleigh. I also talked to one of his former attorneys.
He was a famous minister. He was well loved. He was on his way to national prominence, and all of a sudden it just all blew up in his face.
On April 22nd, 1987, Peggy was found by her husband. It was just after midnight and she'd been beaten, strangled, and left on the cold concrete. She was only 38 years old and a devoted mother of two.
She was a very sweet, loving person who didn't deserve what happened to her.
Dallas police detectives and the media quickly turned their attention to the Reverend Walker Rayleigh.
A lot of people still think you attacked your wife. Did you attack your wife, sir?
I did not. I am totally innocent, and I have no comment.
Detectives discovered that Pastor Rayleigh had a secret he wanted to hide and a possible motive. On the night of Peggy's attack, he lied to her about where he was. He left her a voice message saying that he was at the SMU library.
If you want to, go ahead and lock the garage door. And I'll park out front. My concern is that you're safe. So I did my best to be finished at SMU at 12:30. I'll be in on around 1.
Phone records later revealed he wasn't at SMU. He was with his mistress.
He wasn't at the library. He was where he wasn't supposed to be.
In July of 1987, Rayleigh appeared before a grand jury and took the Fifth Amendment 43 times. He chose not to answer any questions and also refused to talk to the Dallas Police Department.
Why won't you talk to the Dallas police if you're innocent?
I am totally innocent. I've made that clear.
Rayleigh insisted that he and his family had been receiving letters with death threats before the attack. But Dallas police and prosecutors believe that he wrote those letters himself.
One incessant excuse and lie after the other, well staged, well rehearsed.
Under pressure, Rayleigh resigned from the church in September of 1987. Meanwhile, Peggy Rayleigh was in a Tyler nursing facility, unable to walk, talk, or even eat by herself. Rayleigh moved to California with his lover, Lucy Papillon, and then filed for divorce. In August of 1992, DNA evidence emerged, and police had enough to arrest Rayleigh for the attempted murder of his wife.
Good morning. Morning.
His trial in March of 1993 was a circus. His lover, Lucy, was brought in to testify.
Dr. Papillon, are you and Walker Rayleigh still lovers? You still have a relationship?
I have no comment. On the stand, Rayleigh was very emotional when he described how he found Peggy in the garage.
Put my hands on her shoulders and screamed at her, trying to get her to respond. And she didn't do anything. Her eyes were just glazed over.
He denied attacking his wife.
Walker, did you strangle Peggy? No, I didn't. Do you know who did? No, I don't.
But prosecutors pushed back.
This is all your guilt. Is that right? This is guilt on you. You have not said one word, have you, Dr. Rayleigh, about your poor, injured, damaged, and almost dead wife, have you?
After 17 hours of deliberations, the jury came back
Not guilty.
and found Rayleigh not guilty.
Well, I feel relieved. I think I'll probably sleep tonight.
Rayleigh and Papillon ended up breaking up. Peggy Rayleigh sadly died in 2011. Her children grew up without her.
Total tragedy.
Dallas police couldn't find any other suspects, so the question remains, who attacked and ultimately killed Peggy Rayleigh?
Now to some great video we've seen over the past week, including a record-breaking sale at the Fort Worth Stock Show and Rodeo over the weekend. Meet White Castle.
His name is White Castle, and he weighs 1,459 pounds. Super sweet. He's my buddy. It was unbelievable. I don't even know what to say. It's just, I've been working for over a year now for this. My family's been working with me, and there's been some tough days. This is the Super Bowl of Super Bowls for the cattle show. This is every kid's dream, to win the Fort Worth Stock Show.
We've loved that animal from day one, and I mean, to us, he's built incredible inside and out. But this is the Super Bowl. Like you don't know what you're running into when you walk in here. I mean, the competition is the highest level of any state or national show, and we knew he was good, but we were just praying for a top 10 finish, and this is incredible.
$150,000 high dividend 50 at 450. You're down 60. We've set a record 60s and already. For 80s bid, you ought to be 500,000. Thank you, Ross Perot. 500,000. Yeah, betcha. Now 510. 510. $540,000. 540,000 all in. 540. Now 550. It just keeps going up, guys. 550. 550,000. 550. Yes, he did. Now 560. 560. 560. 560. Look at Cayman over there selling it. 560. 560. $560,000. 560,000. 550's bid. And 560. 550's with Duran. I'm asking 560. All in. All done. Jay, are we done? 560,000. Mr. Perot, thank you very much. 560. I have sold the steer. $550,000.
It was graduation day for a very special student at UT Dallas. very special. Nero graduated from the school's Service Dogs in Training program. The student club works with canines to help the dogs become sidekicks for their human partners. Nero is 2 years old and already knows more than 25 commands.
So this loop right here may not look that tall compared to the much taller drop right behind it, but that loop alone is actually taller than the peak of the Texas Giant. And somehow it's not even the second tallest feature of the new Tormentor roller coaster at Six Flags Over Texas. They finished this 179-foot tall loop this past week, and it's actually going to follow a 309-foot tall initial drop that goes into a 218-foot tall Immelman inversion twisting loop. The Tormentor will be the biggest roller coaster at Six Flags by a pretty good margin. The Titan, by comparison, is around 245 feet tall. Six Flags also says it'll be the tallest, fastest, longest dive coaster in the world, reaching speeds up to 87 miles per hour. Construction on the actual track portion of the coaster appears to be almost done. The Tormentor is expected to open sometime in the summer of 2026.
All right, this is so that I can testify that I've got this done.
Absolutely. Ready?
You ready? Oh! That last one hit. Is this the inert stuff?
No, it's a first one bounced off of.
Did you hear that? The first one bounced off of me. Don't hit me again. But the first one bounced off. I hope everyone got that.
Do you feel like complying?
Yeah, I'm going to comply.
Dripping off him. I know he's freezing.
Turning our attention to this weekend, if you haven't looked at the calendar, Saturday, Valentine's Day. While millions of people do celebrate being in love on that day, others may be dealing with some heartbreak.
And this is something a Texas mechanic says he's seen too many times.
Yeah, his name is Mark Rodriguez, and he's been running his shop in Corpus Christi for 2 decades. And he says he has seen his fair share of shattered windshields and windows days after Valentine's Day. Yeah, rocks, bricks, a donkey statue that apparently flew through that windshield. Apparently there's one story, though, that stuck with him all these years.
I saw a Bible verse and I looked at him. I was like, what's going on? He goes, she wrote that on there before she threw it to the back window.
I just tried to look up what that verse was. Rodriguez says love lessons can get expensive and wants to remind everybody that love can hurt, but replacing a windshield or window can hurt your wallet even more sometimes.
Imagine taking the step to write a Bible verse on there and then.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? You do you for Valentine's
Wishing you
Day.
a calm.
Yeah.
And lovely Valentine's Day.
All right, that's it for us. We'll be back with another episode of Long Story Shorts on Wednesday.